technical demonstration, we're going to focus on global account permissions, global system permissions, and global security settings. Now, before we do that, we're going to add another Centrify Directory user account, and we're going to assign new system administrators. Now, the way we're going to do that is we're going to come over here to Users under Access. And as you can see, I do have my two users. We'll talk about Alex Foster here in a moment, but we're going to go ahead and add in a new user. Now, this is going to be our support administrator. And you'll notice that the suffix is already populated for us. In the case where we're using a software as a service type scenario, we will have to add the domain and verify it. But since we've installed this on-prem or inside the customer's network and on a domain joined system, the suffix is already populated for us. So from here, we'll go ahead, that's going to be our login name. We'll go ahead and add in our email address and our display name. We're going to go ahead and set the password type to manual. And we'll set it not to expire. And we won't make any other changes at this point, and we'll simply create the user. So now we have 3 users, one of which has been invited, which will be done via email. The other is an Active Directory user, and then of course the primary or initial administrator account that we created during the installation. But what we need to do now is we need to take these two, Alex Foster and Omicron Support, and make them system administrators. So in order to do this, we're going to come over to Roles. And under Roles, as you can see here, we do have our 2 default roles, and we're going to use the System Administrator role. So I'm going to click on the System Administrator role and go to Members. And as you can see, there's our initial administrator account that's already been added, so we're going to add 2 more. So from here, I'm simply going to start typing the name. And as you can see, there's Alex Foster. We'll go ahead and add him to the list. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for the Omicron Support login. Now, as you can see here, there's a lot more that begin with Omicron. These are our Active Directory groups. By installing the Centrify connector, this integrates Active Directory to the identity platform. So we're able to read Active Directory through the connector, and it allows us to populate this information. This is identified using this source legend, as you can see here, Active Directory. These are all Active Directory groups. So for this demonstration, the only one we need to add is Omicron Support. So we'll click Add. And now, as you can see, those are all system administrators. We'll go ahead and click Save to save that work. Now we can move on to the global account permissions. Now, these are going to be permissions that are going to be applied to accounts at a global level. So we'll click on Global Account Permissions under Access. And as you can see, we don't have anything listed, but we're going to go ahead and add an Active Directory group. Now, this is going to be our security group for the Omicron Equipment Company. So I'm going to go ahead and once again type in Omicron. And we're going to go identify our security group. Here it is right here. We'll go ahead and click Add. And now we can apply specific permissions at a global level. Now, these are going to be our administrators. These are going to be the ones who are going to be able to grant information and permissions and privilege to our users. So in order to do this, we simply click Grant, Checkout, Login. We don't really need file transfer for this demonstration, but of course that is an option. We will click Edit and Delete. Update password, and finally rotate. This allows us to rotate the password periodically. And we'll go ahead and click Save. Now, again, this gives us the capability from a global account permissions perspective. So anyone that's a part of this group will automatically get these permissions. Let's move over to system permissions now at a global level. And we'll go ahead and add the security team once again. And we'll click add. Now, in this particular instance, you'll notice that the permissions are a little bit different. We're going to select grant once again. We'll go ahead and select manage session. Now, this will give us the ability to watch and terminate sessions as an administrator. We'll go ahead and select edit and delete. These other two are discussed later in the course regarding the identity broker process. We don't need them at this time. So we'll go ahead and click save. Next, we need to set our global security settings. Now, that's going to be found down at the bottom under settings. So under settings, we're going to go over to resources. And we'll select security settings, which is the default location when we go to resources. And we're going to make just a couple of changes here. We're going to enable periodic password rotation on specific interval days, which is 90. Obviously, this would coincide with Active Directory in certain situations. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to allow access from public networks. This is for the web client only. So we'll go ahead and select that option. And once again, we'll click save. Now, the last thing we need to do is grant permissions to the domain. So once again, we'll go back up to the top under resources and we'll go to domains. Now, under domains, as you can see here, the omicron.lab domain is already populated for us. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And as you can see here, there's an option for accounts, but the one we're going to focus on is permissions. So we'll click permissions and we're going to click add. And once again, we're going to add the security team to this privilege. So we'll go ahead and select it and click add. Now the system admins already have access. Now from here, the only thing we want to adjust on the security team's permissions is the add account option. This allows us to make adjustments to the domain accounts from the portal. So we'll go ahead and click add account and we'll click save. Now the next step is going to be the domain administrative account, which we'll see in a later demonstration.